In 1994, he had arrived at Indianapolis, and by '95, he landed with A.J. Foyt at the Speedway.
My dad and I used to sit on the sofa, and we used to watch all kinds of races. I remember sitting there one time watching one of the Indy 500s, and all of a sudden this guy jumps out of his car, which is surprising in the middle of the race, starts beating on the back of his car with a hammer. And I was like, who's that? And my dad's like, that's A.J. Foyt. That's typical.
As 1998 continues to unfold, Sharp now races for a new team, Tom Kelly and Kelly Racing.
Everyone wants to win the points championship. What's important for us is to come out of the box with just some solid finishes, develop some consistency together, some cohesiveness as a group, and I think the rest will all come.
25-year-old Richie Hurd from Canyon Country, California, comes through the tri-oval, takes the checkered flag, and wins the inaugural running of the Las Vegas 500K.
In the fall of 1996, the future of IndyCar racing was unveiled at the MGM Grand, as the new engines and chassis were spotlighted in typical Las Vegas fashion. The cars debuted in Orlando, with Tony Stewart again having matters well in hand, until a late race spin put Eddy Cheever at the point.
And now Tony spun right down the main straightaway. And to the inside, made some contact. He is
and
back going.
Continues on. He saved it. Does a 360. Continues on. Incredible.
Shortly thereafter, the reins caved, putting Eddy Cheever in victory lane for the first time in his IndyCar career. Born in Phoenix, Arizona, raised in Rome, Italy, and it was there that Eddy Cheever Jr. began racing go-karts. A veteran of over 130 Formula One races, Cheever decided that the Indianapolis 500 was what he aspired to, and in 1990, he achieved that dream. But Indianapolis is never easy.
The first 2 or 3 times I drove the car to Indianapolis 500, I mean, I thought, I was sure I was going to kill myself because the speeds were so high and I wasn't used to going at 220, 230 miles an hour. And every time I would lean on the car going into one, the back end had come out, and believe me, a car that is loose or is sliding at 220 miles an hour is not much fun, no matter how old you are or how stupid you are.
The Indy 500 and Series Rookie of the Year that season, Cheever learned to love Indianapolis. And by 1992, he found himself on the front row alongside teammate Arie Luyendyk. Long a fan favorite at the Brickyard, by 1997, Cheever was not only driver, but also team owner Eddy Cheever. And though a road racer in his youth, his love of the ovals and particularly of Indianapolis is obvious.
Indy is a very special racetrack, and people, the fans, the drivers, everybody gets a sensation when they're there that is different from any other racetrack in the world because of the history of it. I mean, drivers have raced there 70 years ago. Drivers will continue to race there 70 years from now. Everybody really gets into the fact that that is the most important race of the year, so everybody gives their best. And I've always had such a great relationship with the fans in Indy because of that.
About 8 car lengths separate first and second. Here comes the white flag. It's a 1-lap, 1-mile shootout. Down the main straightaway, 1 lap to go. Brian Howard will reach for the twin checkered flags into turn 1. Guthrie now about 8 car lengths over Stewart. Stewart is going to be out of time. Guthrie is going to be able to hang on into turn 4. About 10 car lengths. Here it is, the dual checkered flags. Jim Guthrie takes the victory.
In the biggest IRL surprise to date, rookie Jim Guthrie and Blueprint Racing, a team with only one engine to its name, stave off the giants of IndyCar racing in Phoenix. Guthrie holds off Tony Stewart and Team Menard in a tremendous battle, scoring one of the biggest upsets in the history of motorsports. Guthrie's surprising triumph in the desert left most wondering what Indianapolis would have to offer. Arie Luyendyk captured the pole, and after 2 days of tremendous rains, the race was finally run.
We have 7 laps to go. Will it be Scott Goodyear in victory lane? Luyendyk is right behind him.
Could be a terrific race for the final lap of this race. There goes Goodyear, there goes Luyendyk, and the rest of the field as they're into the short chute, the south end of the track, now into the second turn.
And again, no change with the leaders, and we could have some kind of a trophy dash to the finish. They're halfway through the backstretch and headed toward Gary Lee.
No team orders here, nose to tail. Luyendyk looks to the high side, side by side into 3. Luyendyk takes the lead.
Arie Luyendyk's second Indianapolis 500-mile victory was worth over $1 million to Treadway Racing, while teammate Scott Goodyear's second-place finish made him once again the bridesmaid. Arie Luyendyk and the Indianapolis 500. The two are almost synonymous with success. The Indy 500 Rookie of the Year in 1985, Luyendyk burst onto a front-row starting spot in 1990. Then on race day, Luyendyk torched the competition, winning the race and shattering the track record for average race speed. In 1993, he earned his first Indy 500 pole position, and on race day, led 14 laps.
And the green flag is out. We are back to racing, and Emerson Fittipaldi makes a move on Nigel Mansell. He's got him going into one, but Luyendyk is also right there.
Oh, they went side by side, and Mansell fell all the way back to third place. Gary, we got him coming right at you.
You want to push the envelope. You want to go to the limit, and if you don't feel comfortable there, you're not going to get that extra 2 miles an hour out of the car. But the only fast way around the speedway is if you're not entirely comfortable. It has to be a little bit on the edge.
But his achievements in speed were far from finished. In 1995, he lined up second quick. And in 96, he had the field covered on pole day, only to be disqualified when the car was found to be underweight. Nevertheless, Luyendyk requalified on day number 2, this time as the fastest man ever at Indianapolis.
And it's a new track record.
Boys, we're going to be in the record book for a long time.
Let's go.
Long time, boys.
Luyendyk's win in the 1997 Indianapolis 500 only reinforces what most already know. Arie Luyendyk is one of the best drivers ever to circle the world's greatest oval.
I think at Indy, you know, Indy and myself, we kind of get along pretty good. I have a good feeling for the track. And maybe I am a specialist there. I don't see it that way, but sometimes I look back and I say, well, I guess I am somewhat of a specialist. But I definitely have a lot of respect for the track. I only go fast when I know I can do it. For me, the Speedway represents America. And for me to have made it in Indianapolis, at the same time I can say, well, I came from Holland and came without any money over here, and I made it in America thanks to Indianapolis.
The 97 IRL trail rolled into Texas in the fabulous new Texas Motor Speedway. For the first time in modern era racing, Indy cars raced under the lights, and fans held their breath as open-wheel cars raced side by side.
They have gone a full lap here in Texas, side by side.
It stays that way in the backstretch. Lazier pulls about a half a car length ahead. Stewart closes on him, going to 3, taking the high road. Tony Stewart still can't get him. Very close, wheel to wheels ahead toward 4. The fans are standing and cheering.
The fans are going wild across the start-finish line. 2 laps now, side by side again. Into turn 1, ever so close, and Tony has him.
Tony Stewart appeared on his way to victory number 1. But again, his hopes were erased in this late race accident. Billy Vogt took the checkered flag and was declared the winner. But a USAC scoring recount later declared Arie Luyendyk the victor for the second straight race. For Billy Vogt, the USAC midget veteran, racing ovals is a part of life.
Yeah, it is, and that's what I did, for most of my life was rent Saturday nights. So, it's great for me, and I feel very much at home run under the lights on Saturday night, and, it's just, it puts on a great show.
In 1995, Billy Vogt broke all existing USAC records for consecutive single series feature wins en route to the USAC Midget Championship. He ended the season with 18 wins in 27 starts.
And I think that's what's great about the IRL, is that we've gone to some of these big oval tracks and high bank tracks that really let you race, and it's just it's great. It's fun to drive. It's fun to go race these high bank tracks, and we can run side by side in the corners, and just puts on a great show. That's what people want to see.
His Indy 500 debut ended with his 1996 practice crash, but he rebounded last season to finish 7th at the Brickyard. And for '98, Billy Vogt returns with A.J. Foyt, a testament to what the IRL is all about.
Just been a tremendous boon for short track racers all across the country, because now they're seeing more and more faces that ran sprint cars and midgets actually moving up and getting a shot at Indy. And for a long time, that's something that we never had. And you know, it's just tremendous for all levels of racing that Indy is reachable again. And it's just going to, over the next 10 years, it's just going to be a tremendous growth for the sport.
Crowd that has gathered here has seen just some incredible racing. We see them up cheering as the green flag comes out, and we are back to racing. Let's see who's going to win this thing. Davey Hamilton pulls inside of Cheever.
3 wide into 1, Bob, and Davey Hamilton on the inside. The sandwich was Cheever. He drops to 4th position.
That's too bad, because Eddy Cheever was the one that backed out of the throttle, and he gave up a position as a result of it. So it's Gregoire, Hamilton, Cheever, Calkins, Suspiri, and Goodyear, and the white flag comes out. One more lap to go for Tony Stewart, the young man from Rushville, Indiana, who has tried so hard to win his first Indy Racing League event. The second place car, Stefan Gregoire, makes a challenge here. He's within a few car lengths. Let's watch him at the line as Tony Stewart comes off of corner number 4, and Stewart wins the Samsonite 200 by a couple of car lengths over Stefan Gregoire.
The IRL moved on to Colorado Springs in the shadows of the 14,000-foot summit of Pikes Peak. Tony Stewart finally slayed the dragon that had kept this team out of victory lane, capturing his first IRL event and the first ever IndyCar win for car owner John Menard. At only 26 years of age, Tony Stewart is a man who loves to race.
Absolutely. I mean, ever since I started when I was 8 years old, that's all that anything that I thought of when I slept was racing. Anything that I thought of during the day was racing, and that's all I've ever thought about doing was driving race cars. Growing up in Indiana, there's a lot of short tracks there, and that's where our roots are. And as we went up through the ladder, we weren't even associated with any road racing cars. So basically, everything that I've driven has been on ovals, and it's just one thing's led to another, and now we're into Indy cars.
A veteran of more than 200 USAC features, Stewart capped an amazing '95 season by winning the USAC National Midget, Sprint, and Silver Crown Championship. The first driver ever to win all 3 titles in the same year.
Just to try to go out and win 1 championship was something we thought would be hard enough as it was, but to win 2 and then win the 3rd championship was just something that we couldn't have imagined we could have done. I mean, we were very lucky and very fortunate to have 2 great car owners to win all 3 of those titles with. So, you know, it was just one of those years that everything fell in place and we couldn't do anything wrong in the last half of the season.
He started first and second in his only 2 Indy 500 attempts and has by far led more laps than any other driver in the series. He would cap the Colorado win with a points championship a few months later and would reiterate that championship feeling with a win in Orlando in the 1998 season opener. For Tony Stewart, nothing short of a repeat performance will be acceptable in '98.
I mean, it's been a dream come true. I mean, just to be in IndyCar racing and be with the IRL has been a dream come true, let alone to win a race last year finally and to win the championship. It just capped off a perfect season for us.
The bright lights of the jewel of NASCAR racing, Charlotte Motor Speedway, beckon.